I can finally see that finish line, keep up with my pace.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
We are the Youngs.
We are the Youngs.
I'm wearing the same hoodie as, well, I was going to say the last episode, but it
We
very
don't know
well,
what-
I don't know what order I'm going to post these in.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing. We're just here.
I don't, we still don't, I mean, do you?
I don't have a fun opener for this one. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm all tapped
I
out.
think I've said this in the last couple batch recording days we've had is you can usually tell when we're
Are you shivering?
It's cold.
Are you? He's like.
I'm just tense. I'm not shivering necessarily.
You need to relax. Loosen up. Go run around the block.
We had the first overnight freeze in St. Louis last night.
Yeah, we did. Did you want to do the hose?
I did.
Oh,
and it was
gosh.
freaking raining, and it was miserable when I was doing it.
Oh, you did it when we got home. That's right. Yeah.
But that means it's cold, and we're in the studio, and we had the heater running, but because we're recording back to back, basically, it's been off, so we don't have the hum in the background. So it's like 60 degrees in the studio.
My toes
it's
are
chilly.
I'm a little chilly. You were literally just like saying like,
My
like
bad.
you need to relax.
What I was gonna say is, when we do these batch recordings, the last couple, there's always like, we never have this like period at the beginning that we're just like, just talking.
Yeah.
We just get right into it because we have nothing else to do.
We have nothing else.
We're tapped out as far as like small talk.
Yeah.
It's the small talk segment.
We are going on a vacation at the end of this week. Hey.
I am so excited.
I'm so excited. We're going to the mountains. We're going to Tennessee. Smokies. Just gonna literally chillax.
In the cabins. And I mean, we might go on a hike. We might find some off-road trails, but it's also potentially going to rain or snow.
Yeah, the weather actually looks a little bit better than it did.
But
a
honestly,
few days
we've
ago.
talked about this, and if it is gross out, I'm okay with that, and I'll just hang out.
Dude, I'm napping.
I will hang out.
I'm napping.
And just have a good old time. Views are great in the windows. I can work with it.
Yeah. I'm honestly okay with like sitting in silence. I photographed a wedding on Saturday, and we were in like the bridal suite eating dinner, and some of the bridal party members came in and they were like, I'm so sorry, you guys have to eat in here. You could eat out. Like, there's just no more room at the table for anybody and blah, blah, blah. And we were like, we don't mind being in here alone in the silence.
Yeah.
Like, I am okay with that.
Yeah, we don't need a table every time. We just need a place to eat with a table.
Yeah.
We don't need to be sitting with the guests all the time.
Yeah, we like our quiet time. So I'm looking forward to quiet time in the mountains. And I really want to see a bear. I really want to see a bear.
Her and our sister-in-law, Nicole.
Yeah.
I don't know if Heather has agreed with this or not.
I don't know. We haven't talked to her about this specifically, but me and Nicole really want to see a bear.
But me and my brother keep reminding them that just because it's furry and potentially cute does not mean it will not rip your arm off if you get too close to it.
Nicole was the one who said that she wanted to pet it. I'm not there. I just want to see it and then like take some pictures of it. That's all I want.
Based on our conversation that we're going to be talking about today, I feel like the vacation that we're taking is very perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Because we're going, and then as soon as we get back, we're like a week out from
Dun, 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 dun.
engagement/booking season.
Very true. Which is when?
And if you are unfamiliar with that terminology, it is the time when most people in the United States get engaged and start planning their wedding.
Which is when?
Starts usually the week of, sometimes the week before Thanksgiving, and runs all the way past New Year's.
Yeah.
So
we'll be seeing a lot of popping the question at or around Thanksgiving. Christmas is a huge one. New Year's Eve is a huge one.
And then after New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, there's usually a short lull, and then it picks back up in
spring.
No, Valentine's Day.
Oh, Valentine's Day. Yeah.
It's not as big on Valentine's Day, but you do get a little bit of a peak there.
A little bit of pop, yeah.
And then it levels back out for the spring sessions.
Yeah.
Or the spring season of that. So what we're talking about today is how to prep your business and get ready as a wedding vendor, specifically photographer, videographer.
Yep.
To be ready for that influx of people that are looking for wedding vendors.
Yeah.
So that you can be more successful and get them into your inbox and to ultimately book more weddings for the following year and the year after, because
Preach
this is about the time when, like, for example, we'll get a lot of 2024 in this, but
then
we'll
we'll also
also
get
start to
2025.
get the early 2025 bookings as well,
Yeah.
if you haven't already started getting them.
Because the people who are getting engaged towards the end of this year, I mean, honestly, most places are probably almost, if not full, for the following year. So we'll be looking into 2025.
So you'll get either like fall 24
Yeah.
or spring 25. And this is across the board. This isn't just for this episode
Market, yeah.
and this year. So if you're listening to this and it's 2025 right now, it'd be fall of 26,
Oh my
spring of
God.
27.
That's nuts.
So this is
Wait. 20. Oh, never mind. I just had never mind. We'll move on.
What?
Nothing. Nothing.
Okay.
I don't want to embarrass myself.
Well, I'm going to ask you after this episode, after we record
Okay. I'll just say it so people can freaking laugh at me. Guys, I swear I'm more intelligent than the blonde moments that I have, but I do have them because I am a natural blonde. When you were saying 2026 and 2028,
27.
Whatever. I was thinking 2029 and then 2030. And then for whatever reason, after 2030, I immediately went to 3000. And then I was like,
The new
I've been
millennium.
to year 3000. You know, the Jonas Brothers song? Not
Yeah,
much has changed, but we lived underwater.
Anyway.
That's definitely not the correct math. And I know that.
The
I
point
caught
of
it
that
real quick.
comment was that this is a topic and timely topic specific to this point in time that will be beneficial every year at this time.
Yeah.
So you can always come back and reference this every year.
So the first thing that I want to say,
Based on now times, because
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what marketing's going to look like, what social media's
so
going to look like. But
there's a lot of things that we have and a lot of tips that we're going to cover. But the first thing that I want to say is Alex kind of prefaced it by saying, you know, the inquiries that are going to be coming in are probably a good mix of 2024, but then also probably a lot of 2025, at least based off of our experience and how our clients book. But with that being said, now what I'm about to say is a very personal decision based off of how you run your business. But in general sense, I think that it's a smart move to make sure that your pricing is set up for your 2024 pricing and then your 2025 pricing. If you do that sort of thing, if you change your pricing year to year, or you do dynamic pricing, or whatever the case might be for you, and I'm saying this based off of personal experience, we have booked clients 2 years in advance based off of the next year's round of pricing. And then we get to that following year and we are kicking ourselves because it's $3,000 to $5,000 less than what our current prices are.
Yeah.
And we're like, holy shit, why did we do that to ourselves?
which is why we also don't necessarily book too far out.
Right.
Past like 12 months.
So
But
when we are sending out, I mean, we're already getting a few here and there, 2025. So when we're sending out 2025 packages,
we have 2025 pricing.
We have specific 2025 pricing. So that is my first tip, that if you do some type of like change in your pricing every year, or you change up your packages, make sure that those are set and ready to go for the inquiries that are coming in, whether they're for the following or 2 years in advance.
And you're also, because we book so far out, you have to account for potential changes in the economy.
Yeah.
And like if inflation takes a huge spike like it did earlier this year, like you have to know that you are set up for success for the weddings that are a year or 2 years out.
Yeah.
If you even book that far out.
Well,
Obviously, in the fall coming up, 12 months is the fall of next year.
I think in regards to this, and we can move on after I say this, but in regards to this topic, a lot of like raising prices and things like that, like we always get like a little anxious, like photographers are like, oh my God, raising prices. one thing, you always have to give it time. Okay. You always have to give it time to at least 3 months, but also you have to just do like a quick assessment on, say you're getting an inquiry for 2025 and you know that you want to change your pricing from 2024 bookings. Do like just a real quick assessment on what are the things that I'm going to be doing in 2024 that are going to make me more valuable. Do you already know that you're going to be doing a lot of education? Do you already know that you're going to be upgrading your gear? That sort of thing. So then it feels good and you can justify the fact that you are raising your prices and you feel better about it, because you should.
You'll have done a lot more weddings.
Yeah.
By then.
So just take that into account. Just do a quick assessment. When you're doing your packages and restructuring them, just kind of assess all of those things. You don't have to I'm not saying spend so much time on it. Just know in the back of your mind what you're investing in yourself, and then adjust your prices accordingly.
I think that just comes down to just knowing for certain what your pricing model and packaging is going to look like leading up to this, because you don't want to be getting inquiries and being trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
You want to know, because when you get the inquiry, you want to respond quickly, because we've booked lots of weddings because it responded quickly, especially during this time.
So that goes into the next thing.
The next thing is make sure you are updating and just all your ducks in a row, on your website, for example. So
your workflow,
all of your questionnaires work. If you fill out
all your contact forms,
test it. Have somebody else test it. Make sure it's actually going to your inbox, not your junk mail, so you don't miss it. Make sure all of your social media messaging stuff is working properly, so you don't miss messages there, because you might get messages there.
Yeah. If you are an automatic response person, which there's nothing wrong with that, and make sure all of those are updated for the following year or 2 years in advance, or whatever the case might be with how your automatic responses look. Just make sure everything is fresh and ready to go for when all of those inquiries start coming through. Because I know for me personally, when I get too many, this sounds insane, but when I have so many inquiries in my inbox, I feel a little anxious about it. Super blessed, love that, so thankful. But then I also just feel all this pressure. I'm oh my gosh, I have to respond to all of these. I have to send out all of these things. So if you have if you have automatic responses, just make sure they're ready to go, and then you can get everybody their information quickly.
Right. And then the next thing I would do is take all of that content, whether it's video content, photo content, whatever, that you've been kind of waiting to update your website with, that your best work from the most recent weddings that are from the weddings that you want to book more of, update all across the entire website. Change if you have a video that plays automatically, update that. Update your main header photos. Make it look fresh and make it look exactly like the weddings you want to book.
Yeah. And then the same kind of goes for Instagram. If you because this is also a season where we're spending more time with family, maybe working a little bit less, it's still important during this time, especially to show up on Instagram and to show up on social media, because that might be where your clients are coming from. So planning your content, having batched content, and then, like Alex said, posting the things that you want to get, and just making sure that your Instagram game is on point. You're showing up in stories from time to time, probably more often than not. Just making sure that the new people who are coming to seek you out and to potentially book you, or they want to get a meeting with you, they know what your personality is and things like that. So it's super important just to be on your game with Instagram or whatever social media of your choices.
Yeah, was it this podcast we were talking about that a lot of people find you on Instagram these days?
Yeah,
I saw a post, I think it was today or yesterday, about where most of people's leads are coming from in one of the groups, and almost everybody said Instagram.
Yeah.
So with that said, as far batch making content and just making sure you have enough content ready to go to post every day, to try to post every day for the next month and a half.
Yeah.
And then showing up like Veronica said. And then you also want to make sure that you are up to date with hashtags. I know a lot of people on a lot of different how to succeed on Instagram or social media are saying hashtags are out, but I assure you they are most definitely not when it comes to booking weddings.
Yeah. Because clients are going into that search bar and typing in hashtag, or they're typing, it doesn't have to even be a hashtag, it just shows up. That's how Instagram works. But like STL wedding photographer, and it comes up as a hashtag, and then you search.
And then they select that.
Yeah.
So look through where your market is, the types of weddings you want to do, and find out what hashtags are showing up the most. But also, you don't want to pick ones that are overly saturated, because you want to make sure you're showing up on it. So a good range is in the 100,000 to 300,000 to 400,000 posts range, and that's a good middle ground for people posting on Instagram. And it gives you a good mix of, there's a lot of people looking at that, and there's also a lot of people posting, so you can maybe show up in that. So know what hashtags are going to work for you right now, because those change over time, and make sure you're adding them to your posts. Yeah,
for sure. Another tip is if you do any type of educational content that's directed to clients, not necessarily other entrepreneurs, if you do like engagement session guides, or like how to prep for your engagement session, or like anything like that type of content, now is the time to be posting it. Because when these clients are looking for photographers, and if you have educational content on your website or a free download or something like that, any type of value that you can give to your client is going to only push you further into their line of thought, or like them wanting to book you. So if you have educational content that you have like been wanting to do, or it's just been put on the back burner all year or whatever, now is the time to buckle down and get it done, and then be posting it within the next 2 to 3 months.
And what that does is you're basically solving a pain point before they're even a warm lead. And you're also adding a touch point to your booking process. So what you're going to do is get them in your world before they even are ready to book. And when they're ready to book a photographer, for example, and you put out a free wedding planning checklist from a photographer's point of view, whatever, they've already downloaded your free thing, which means they've already been in your world once. That's a touch point. They're a warm lead now too. When it's time for them to book, guess where they're going to go first? Probably you. They're probably going to search out everybody, but you're already You've already
given them something of value, so that's already instilled some sort of trust. So anyway, the next tip would be, if you have educational content that you've been holding on to, or that you've been putting on the back burner, now is your time to buckle down and get it done and post it, and post the crap out of it throughout the next few months. It will only help clients feel more comfortable with you and get value right away.
Okay. And awesome. I mean, that's really the social media side of it. I mean, there's not really a lot to do. I would also add that you should go into your feed and scroll down to earlier posts, and anything that doesn't really resonate with how your business is now, go ahead and archive all those.
Yeah, we need to do some of that.
Don't delete them, but archive them, because you want to make everything look consistent. And especially because our industry is creative based,
right?
You want to make sure everything is consistent in that world. But on the next point that I wanted to make, outside of social media, is reach out to all the planners that you've built the connection with.
I had one more topic for social media, but go ahead. No,
okay,
I don't want you to forget.
So this isn't a time to connect and try to build a relationship with new planners.
You should have already been doing that.
That should have been something you were doing all year, because now is the booking time. So now what you want to do is the planners that you've already made connections with, or you've worked with this year, or whatever, send them content if you haven't already. And give them
working of a wedding that you've worked with them,
of weddings that they've worked, like that they would be tagged in.
Well, not even just planners, like florists and things like that.
Vendors.
If you have galleries that you haven't sent out to other vendors that you've worked with, like give them that, because that's just free advertisement for you.
And what that's going to do is, when they are asked for suggestions, hey, they just gave me this gallery, let me recommend them.
We did a podcast with one of our past brides, and she said, when I asked her, when you were like figuring out who you wanted to hire, like what did that look like for you? And she said, well, I started to like look at planners website or planners Instagrams and florist Instagrams, DJs. And she's like, one thing that I realized is that you were everywhere.
You want to.
I was like, dang, I like that.
She was actually looking at like planners and florists and then going to the tagged tab.
Yeah.
So or who that planner or florist was tagging in their post to see who is showing up.
As a personal experience, we were popping up over and over and over and over again for her. And then she ultimately ended up hiring us.
Yeah. On the other point for the hashtags, real quick, that now that you mentioned that, she also mentioned, which this episode will already be up, so you can go back and listen to it. She also mentioned if you're in the St. Louis area and you're a videographer, she said there's not a lot of wedding videographers that are showing up on hashtag searches.
Yeah, so like STL wedding videographer specifically.
Or STL videographer in general.
Yeah.
She gets a lot of corporate, but I mean, think about it. They're looking for a videographer. They're just going to type St. Louis videographer or STL videographer.
Yeah.
We've already been doing that.
Right.
But if you're a videographer, jump on that so that you can show up in the feed to try to get more eyeballs. But the last thing as far as planners go that I was going to say is send those ones that you've connected with your updated pricing.
Yeah.
That way, when they get a client, they don't have to come to you and ask.
Yeah.
They already have it, and they can already be like, hey, are you available this day? Great, I'm sending your pricing.
Yeah. In regards to what I was going to say is something that we do, and again, this is all perspective and like if you feel comfortable doing this, but we are pretty transparent about like our bookings on Instagram. So we kind of do this like a little bit throughout the year, but more so towards like the end of the year and engagement and booking season, we'll do it more often. And we are transparent about, hey, we are only taking this many weddings for 2024, or we've officially opened our books for 2025, or, we're taking this many weddings in 2025. And we'll also even go as deep into it as we only have 2 weekends available in October. We only have one more weekend available. We have this date available in June, or, whatever the case might be. So we're really specific about, when our calendar is open, and when we're not taking any more weddings. And I mean, specifically for us, we do more,
total
number instead of date. Like
instead of like month, like some people say I take one a month.
Yeah. Like ours is based off of like fiscal year income, based off rather than number of weddings.
Yeah.
But we know based off of like going into the next year, how many more weddings we want to take. So, we just put that, online.
Hey, 5 weddings left for 2024.
Yeah. Because what that does is if there is someone who's been following you, maybe for a couple months, and then they aren't engaged even, and then they get engaged around Christmas and they've been following you, and then they know that they're interested in you, and you post that, hey, we're only taking 2 more weddings, they know that they need to inquire like right now. So it instills a sense of urgency, and transparency, which is what we're all about.
And I think the best way to approach that idea for your business specifically is you need to know whether you are a company that is only taking like a finite per year total. And I'm not talking like 40 is past that threshold, but like we take 20 to 25 a year, which means we have pretty good openings weekends that we don't have weddings. So we can say, hey, we only have 5, we're only taking 5 more weddings.
Yeah. And
they have a decent chance of catching us on an open weekend.
Yeah. Cause we have more availability.
If you take 40 plus weddings a year,
then your calendar year is like,
maybe that would be a good time to list out the days in the peak months. Like, hey, my weekend, these are the dates that I have available in October. These are the dates I have available in September, and so on and so forth. So that if you're not available, then they're not going to reach out, and it's not going to be a waste of time for either of you.
You could even, I'm sure that there are some photographers who do this, but you could even post it on your website, like near your contact form or something, like just keeping up to date, like what your current availability is. That way they're not wasting your time filling out the contact form, and you're not wasting their time, Right.
And that like I said, that varies based on how you book and like the amount you book too.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else?
I mean, really just about just preparing for more inquiries, but also preparing to reach more people.
Yeah.
To get those inquiries.
Yep.
So it's just like an all-encompassing thing. You should be doing this anyway. It touches on similar points to the podcast episode we did on how to get past a booking lull. Like if you're not getting inquiries, what you can do to fix that.
Yeah.
It's kind of going back in and retouching all of those
fine-tuning
and making sure that everything's working. You're putting your best work on your website. You're putting your best work on social media. You're prepping so that you're able to post without missing time and interact with people. That's another thing. Interact.
Yeah. Engagement. Like
Also,
social media engagement.
With that said, we see this a lot. If you see somebody that got engaged and you see that there's a bunch of photographers posting on that post, maybe don't do that and find a better, more organic way to connect with that couple, because the last thing you want to be one of those people that are annoying this couple about their engagement.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just an all-encompassing rule that I think we try to follow.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's pretty much it. I'm sure that there are other things that we can come up with, but those are the touch points that we had.
Those are really good, just like easy to do things just to make sure everything's solid and you're ready to go and you're ready to book more weddings for this influx that is engagement season / booking season.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Right at 30 minutes.
Yep. All right. Is that pretty much it?
That's pretty much it. So if you have any tips or advice that you would like to share that work for you, have worked for you in the past, that would help to get people to be more ready and prepared for this upcoming season, go to YouTube if you're not there already and put it in the comments. Let's talk about it. And also, we still want reviews. Go give us reviews on Instagram.
Not on Instagram.
Not Instagram. Go give us reviews on Apple and Spotify and anywhere else that will take them, because we want more for this podcast.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to this one. Go into booking season and absolutely kill it. Crush it. Y'all got this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you on the next one. We'll catch you on the flippity flip. What's that from?
The Office.
Catch you on the flippity flip. No, it's not.
It is from The Office. Michael says it over and over again.
Flippity
Catch
flip.
you on the flippity flip.
Oh yeah, when he's trying to dunk the ball.
Then he misses every time.
That's right. Catch you on the flippity flip. Okay, anyway, that's it. Peace.